for a status hearing. His attorney still working to appeal a judge's ruling denying Diddy bail. Denied it twice last week. The Bad Boy Records founder is being held by himself in a Brooklyn detention center, accused of running an enterprise of sex trafficking and forced labor. During a March raid, we all remember this, authorities discovered drugs, AR-15s, and an excessive amount of baby oil and lubricant inside of his home, 1,000 bottles of it. Former inmate and director and founder of Wall Street Prison Consultants, Larry Levine, joins me now. Larry, welcome to the show. Thanks for being with me.
Glad to be with you.
So this jail's conditions, have been described as dirty, notorious for mice, maggots, inmate violence, power outages. You spent 10 years in 11 different facilities, so you know what life is like for him right now. Take us behind the scenes.
I was also at MDC Los Angeles. It's like a cookie cutter of the MDC in New York. So yeah, I do know. But he's sitting in the shoe. He's in the hole. And this guy is going through loneliness, anxiety, desperation. He's on suicide watch, and they hand out like psych meds, like they're M&Ms to these inmates to try to get them to cope with what's going on. So his entire existence is to sit in this little cell, essentially. He can shower 3 times a week. He's not getting any real visits. If his lawyer does a legal visit, they have to come upstairs into the special housing unit to see him. Now, have you seen these reports about all these commissary items they say that he could buy? Any of those?
What was one of them? Steak or something?
Ribeye, steak,
yeah.
All kinds of nonsense. He's in the shoe, people. He's in a special housing unit. He cannot buy things off the regular commissary list.
So this is rocking his world right now.
He can buy a radio.
Yeah, this is rocking his world right now. What about treatment from other...
Hollywood dazzles us with its glamour and celebrities, but beneath the surface lies a darker side. The issues of power, influence, and wealth often conceal many secrets. Recently, one name that has surfaced repeatedly in these conversations is Oprah Winfrey.
What about treatment from other inmates, Larry? I'm curious in that too, because we know that they don't take kindly to those who are accused of hurting women or children. They're not minors that we know of, but if he makes it to general population, how's he treated?
Look, if he makes it to GP, general population, someone's going to stick a knife in him. They're going to put some bars of soap in a sock and boom, they're going to pop him over the head and split his head open like a watermelon. They cannot GP him at all. There's a better chance of Jesus appearing in front of us right now than him making general population. He's safe where he is at. There's no reason to move him. And this nonsense about him getting bail, they're never going to give him bail. He wants to go to Essex County, New Jersey, to go to a cushy jail there. Remember, he's not a federal inmate. He's a U.S. Marshal detainee. So they just house him at MDC. And in order to send him to Jersey, they would have to transport him back and forth several times a week with like 6 marshals. They put him in one car, and there'd be a car behind him and a car in front of him. They're not going to do that. So his life essentially at this point is just screwed. And I don't see him ever getting out. And remember, he's fighting his case, right?
Yeah, so what does it look like if he's convicted, Larry?
Well, it's going to take 3 or 4 years to fight his case. And then they're going to put him in a medium security institution. He's never going to go into a minimum security camp. He's going to be living in a cell, and he's going to be living in an isolated area. Now, maybe he'll associate with some other people that have similar crimes to what he has, but he's never going to be in GP. He's never going to have regular visits. He's going to have visits through the telephone, no contact visits for him.
When you were an inmate, Larry, if a celebrity was brought in, say, status like his, I don't know if that ever happened for you, what were your thoughts about them being in the cell down the way?
I thought that, wow, look what they've gone from, having millions, billions of dollars, now all of it.
Oprah Winfrey is widely admired for her generosity and inspiring journey to success. However, Her associations with certain controversial figures have sparked curiosity and raised questions about her reputation.
U.S. celebrities linked to Diddy and his alleged sexual assaults are trying to keep their identities private. That's according to Houston attorney Tony Busby. He says he's already privately settled some of the accused. That's after his firm sent out demand letters. Diddy is currently locked up and facing multiple charges, including racketeering and human trafficking. Despite 2 requests to be released, Diddy has been denied bail. His mother, Janice Combs, has spoken out for the first time since this arrest. She released a statement. It reads, "It is heartbreaking to see my son judged not for the truth, but for a narrative created out of lies. My son is not the monster they have painted him to be, and he deserves a chance to tell his side." Joining us to talk about it here on The Factor Uncensored tonight, we have defense attorney and former Harris County prosecutor Vioja Akingbula, Harris County Precinct 1 trafficking director Kathy Griffin-Grignon, and radio personality J Mac from 97.9 The Box. Glad to have you all here on The Factor Uncensored. So, J Mac, when you hear that there could be more people out there, more celebrities,
right,
who are already settling cases quietly, are you surprised or you shocked?
That's a smart thing to do. You don't want us in your business. You don't want to be on the Isaiah Factor.
On the morning show, right?
On the morning show. And then you heard his mom. She's doing what a mom is supposed to do. If you pay my bills, I would say, hey, that's not the guy I know.
But then again, of course, you don't treat your mother that way. You may not tell your mother what's going on.
Come on, man. His mama know.
Oh.
His mama know.
Trust me.
I'm being naive. The naivete is showing tonight.
Your mom is going to always know what you're doing. You might think she don't know, but she know.
Got it. Vioja, let's talk about some of the celebrities, which no names have been named as of yet, who may have settled these cases. Is that the prudent, smart thing to do?
I think considering that these civil cases are closely tied to the federal case that Diddy's facing, it's certainly a smart thing to do to perhaps try to get your name out of the public eye, get your name away from the specter of the federal investigators, and just try to settle your case privately, assuming that there is some sufficient evidence to believe that these civil attorneys have something on.
Let's take a closer look at the troubling trends that have surrounded Oprah over the years.
Defendant in one of these cases and someone suing you, would they typically require a non-disclosure agreement to be signed once they settle it with the plaintiff or the victim in this case?
You know, if I was an attorney representing one of these individuals accused, I would certainly request for that before agreeing to any out-of-court settlement. Otherwise, it kind of takes away the point of doing it out of court. It's going to end up being public. I might as well continue to fight the allegations.
And sometimes, Catherine, when you're a victim in human trafficking or sex crimes like this, money can't always satisfy you. And do you foresee any of these individuals, whether it's men or women, coming forward later, even though they've signed the NDA, even though they've been paid, saying, look, it was me and this is who did it?
Well, after you get paid,
Right.
okay, and you done spent that money, and then you got to take care of the I, the R, and the S, who are real pimps, then they're going to talk. You know, what's done in the dark comes to the light. And who? I know you don't have a 50-foot bed in your backyard, do you?
Don't assume too much.
I'm just trying to tell you. But it's interesting because I was, you know, I've been following it, and today on TMZ, you know, it was stated that a celebrity that's bigger.
One of the most notable names linked to Oprah is Harvey Weinstein, the disgraced film producer whose actions sent shockwaves through Hollywood. His history of abuse was brought to light during the #MeToo movement, causing many of his former allies, including Oprah, to swiftly distance themselves from him.
Let's have that individual on tape. Now, it's a little different when you're doing civil suits, but when the feds come get you, they got a little something.
And that's criminal.
And that's criminal. And it raised the hair on the back of my neck.
Yeah, it's
it ain't-
raised too, I see it.
Yeah, it ain't that many folks bigger that we know in the interest of, it's just a process of elimination, who we gonna eliminate and who gonna be that person. You more famous than Diddy? We know it ain't Justin Bieber because he done gone to the Lord.
Right. And so, by OG, we have layers here, and we have individuals coming out. Will this ever end for Sean Diddy Combs, or even if he is cleared of criminal charges, people will continue to come?
Yeah, as far as will this ever end, who knows, to be quite frank. I think what's going to end up happening is that some of these cases are going to continue to fuel the federal investigation. And what we should really look out for is if there's going to be more additions to the federal indictment, because every civil lawsuit that comes out, that's a potential witness, that's a potential co-conspirator. And quite certainly the federal investigators are paying attention.
And just because we have the current charges don't mean they can't add on additional charges as they continue to learn more about this case and potential victims that are out there.
And the district attorney of the Southern District of New York said as much in his press conference, that this is still very much an ongoing investigation and that they're still keeping an open mind with respect to more charges moving forward.
And how, go ahead.
With victims, first of all, in order to break through trauma, especially sexual trauma, incest, molestation, rape, trafficking, if you don't delete it, you will repeat it. The very thing that hurt you will draw you into it. That's why so many children that were sexually abused ended up in some form of the sex industry. And the very thing you hate, you'll end up participating in. So it's highly probable that even though they might get paid, they're going to say some things eventually in order to free themselves, because everybody's not looking for a paycheck. Everybody's not, because that pain is deep. He did his mama talking about how much pain she's in, but what about those victims that were drugged? And the children, there's no such thing as a child prostitute. Everybody that messes with children get molestation, statutory rape. So I even fought to get that law removed out of California. You know, there's no such thing as a child prostitute. So what about them?
Right.
Grown folks, it's a little different. But if you drugged and if that baby all had some of that lay you down in it.
All right.